Do I look good? Not necessarily. Hello world and welcome to the video. I've been sick, so I haven't uploaded in a while, and I'm still kind of sick, but nothing gets me out in the morning quite like a good case of injustice, and because of what's happening to Standing Rock, I figured now is a really great time to make a video about it, and come out of my sickness and then start the week off on a good video making note. So, that being said, I have to get ready for Halloween, have not made my costume, and I'm leaving in 2 hours. So, I'm gonna try to make this all in one shot without messing up any words, saying anything super wrong or problematic, or coughing. It's gonna be an adventure, and I'm really excited that you're here. Let's bust this out, because you don't want to sit for too long. Probably. You might. Did you miss me? Anyways, if you don't know what's going on at Standing Rock, you definitely, I'm like laughing as I go into this very serious topic. You definitely need to know what's going on at Standing Rock because, first of all, it's something that's deeply problematic and dangerous and just really, really bad that our country is doing to First Nation peoples of our country. And I want to kind of like lay out what's going on if you haven't seen it somehow. I recommend getting a Twitter. I know Twitter's dying, but getting a Twitter and looking up hashtag NoDAPL, N-O-D-A-P-L. That's the official hashtag against the Dakota Access Pipeline. So Dakota Access Pipeline is this oil pipeline they're trying to put underneath the Missouri River, which is where the Sioux Indians get their life water, and without that water, they don't have water. The problem with that is that pipelines are known to leak. It's what they do, and there's people are always trying to be like, it's not gonna leak. It's not, like pipelines literally, they leak. They have leaks. They are leaking. They leak. They're leaky pipelines. So there's this huge potential for contamination of these people's life water. And it's this huge thing, and so they were like, hey, we're gonna protest this because this is our life water, and you didn't really consult with the right, like, council board people that you're supposed to legally based on the laws that you agreed to in, like, 1856 and 1860. I was just watching a video about it, but I don't remember specific dates. The specific dates only kind of really matter if you're getting really serious into it, in which case you probably shouldn't just be watching my video anyways, but that's that. So yeah, what happened was the U.S. government was like, yeah, totally, and then, to the pipeline, and then the protesters were like, you can't do that, we never said this was okay, and this is our life water, and also it goes on lands that they technically have to be consulted on because it has cultural significance to them, and they're like cultural lands, and based on the language of the treaty, they have to be consulted on matters of that land. However, they weren't, and the U.S. government was like, whatever. So, since then, people have been protesting, and peacefully protesting, in the way of where the pipeline will go. And the U.S. has sent in multiple raids to arrest people over time, and 2 days ago, was it 2 days ago? Yeah? Was like the biggest one that has happened so far. And here's the thing that's really frustrating, that I think is really important for everybody to know what's going on, is that when you look at, like, at history, like we were taught this in history, like when has there ever been a time that the U.S. government has made an agreement with a First Nations people and then broken it? I'll wait. Oh, you know, every single time. Like, our history with Native American peoples is breaking treaties. That's what we do as the U.S. Like, our government breaks treaties, makes treaties in order to break treaties. That's what we did. And we're still doing it today, and that's the part that's most frustrating, is because we're, on one side, we're like, hey, you know, let's take some steps to recover all the things that you messed up, U.S., when you broke these treaties. And then on the other side, they're still doing it today. They're still breaking treaties in brand new ways that are literally putting people's lives in danger. So people are protesting, and they're protesting on on now lands that they're like, you shouldn't be here. But like, the U.S. government gave it to the Dakota Access Pipeline without approval, without legal approval. They didn't actually have the ability to do that. However, they love to ignore the rights of Native American people, so they're just going to keep on doing that, and that's what's happening right now, and that's what's really alarming. Second of all, because in the raid that happened 2 days ago with a ton of peaceful protesters, police forces, armed police forces, sent by the U.S. from like 5 different states came with sound cannons, with those, you know, rubber bullets, and batons, and like all kinds of things, to go against these peaceful protesters, to evict them from lands that they actually have a right to be on. However, you know, it's a whatever, it's like a he said, she said thing, where it's like the protesters are like, you didn't have the right to give this land away, and then the U.S. is like, we gave this land away, you can't be here, and so they're like, you know, fundamental conflict going on right there. However, like, these protesters were peaceful, and they were faced with extreme, like, not extreme, because nobody was murdered, this time, but once again, I want to go back to our history and say, like, when was another time that the U.S., after breaking a treaty, then sent armed forces to make sure that the people that were screwed over didn't fight back against them? The correct answer is most of the time. Ugh. You know? And so this is wrong in so many ways, because we read about this in history and we're like, this is wrong, but it's happening right now, and I think that people need to know about that, because I think you, as someone who hopefully read that and said this is wrong, should now think this is wrong and want to do something about it, or at least be aware about it and make sure that there are not people who are like oblivious to what's going on, because I think it's really, really wrong. There are now thousands of people protesting at Standing Rock against the Dakota Access Pipeline. I have had friends from across the country flying in to join the protest, because this is an issue that, one, impacts the U.S.'s most vulnerable communities, but also it impacts all of us, because, like, one, like, these are people that we have continued to screw over forever, and that, like, a lot of the benefits of certain parts of the U.S. that we benefit from came from the exploitation and, like, genocide of Native peoples, and therefore we owe, like we personally aren't like, oh my gosh, like, we did this, but, like, we are all one people together, because we formed this symbiotic relationship where, like, ancestrally we genocided them, and now we benefited from that, and so now we each exist in the place where we currently exist because of things that happened historically together, and therefore we are binded, and therefore we should be watching out for each other. There's that. And then the other thing is that if the U.S. government is willing to ignore all these things and whatever, and do this to people, who is to say that it's not going to do it to you? I'm not gonna get all crazy here. I'm just saying this is basic, like, movement building, solidarity building. Like, if something bad ever happens to another population, some population that you're a part of, and you want people to come help you, you have to go help somebody else. Like, if you're gonna ignore those people, someday they might be able to help you, and then they're not gonna, because they were like, I mean, they probably would, because they're good people, but I'm just saying, you know? Furthermore, to wrap this up, the people who were, you know, occupying the Malheur Bird Sanctuary building were acquitted of their charges yesterday. They were able to walk free. There was a really funny Craigslist ad about, like, 6 months renting that building for no deposit, no charges, for free for 6 months. That's funny. What's not funny is that, like, those 7 white people that were actually tried to be charged and then acquitted, on the same day that Standing Rock was raided, they were acquitted for occupying with armed forces. Like, they had guns in that building that they did not have a right to be in. Meanwhile, at Standing Rock, thousands of peaceful protesters are facing armed forces for being on land that they actually legally have a right to be on. it's really shitty, and this is the world that we live in. And I'm just saying, you know, these are the current events. Here's what's up. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Did you? It's kind of a bummer. And, it should, I mean, you could enjoy it. It doesn't mean it has to make you happy. You could enjoy it and be like, this was an experience, and I'm engaged. That's enjoyable. That's what I want from this, because what I want next is for you to, I think the best way to do it, I mean, I don't actually know if you Google it. The best way that I know how, so that's what I'm going to give advice for, is to go on Twitter and search again, #StandingRock or #NoDAPL, and amongst all the news sources and commentary and analysis, you'll also find sporadic things about what you can do to help, whether it be sending supplies that are needed in the camps, or calling certain people who have influence and power. Yeah, so there's stuff that we can do. I think it's also a really important thing to remember that even though we are electing Hillary Clinton because Donald Trump is racist and xenophobic and sexist and unqualified, we still have to make sure that we're holding Hillary Clinton accountable for her campaign promises, and everybody, Obama, Clinton, Trump's deafening silence on what's happening at Standing Rock right now is actually, when you think about it, really, really creepy, because so many people are speaking out about Standing Rock. The actor who plays Hulk, the actor who plays Thor, and then a bunch of other people. I just think it's funny that Hulk and Thor both are all speaking out about it, and we have these huge leaders in the U.S. Silent. And when you think about that there are thousands of people, it's just kind of like it's not that they don't know what's going on, you know? It's that they're deciding to let it happen. I hope that you subscribe for more of this quality content. It's gonna be good. Bye.